Esteemed Professor Rayak, my teacher, and he is the teacher of teachers. It is very difficult to get him. It is our fortune that we have got him. Sir, we are very grateful that you have come. Thank you.
Dear Dr. Panigrahi, learned friends, I am thankful to him for his kind words for me and about me. In the strange coincidence of history, I was his teacher, this is true. And most of you are perhaps teacher of many students. But please remember, Plato was a student of Aristotle, though Socrates was not a formal teacher. No, sorry, Aristotle is the student of Plato, though Socrates is not a formal teacher, yet we can say that Plato is the disciple of Socrates. Aristotle, in course of his time, said he doesn't agree with Plato. He studied in Plato's academy for 40 years and came to the conclusion that he doesn't agree with Plato. Plato did not read a single day in the academy of Socrates because he has no academy, and said, not throughout life, but if there is a life beyond it, he is grateful to him for all the ideas he has imbibed from him. With this short introduction, I can tell you the relationship of the teacher and the taught, the guru and the disciple, though seems parallel, are really different. Plato is the teacher of Aristotle, who taught. Aristotle is the student of Plato. It's a fact. But he was not the disciple and neither Plato could be guru. But Plato is a disciple of Socrates. So teacher and taught or student and disciple and guru, though look parallel, yet they are very different. I am really thankful that Dr. Panigrahi, so dear to me, as all the students should be dear to you and to me also. Your own children and your students must be taken alive. Every boy your son and every girl your daughter. When I was a teaching profession, I said, when I come to my class, I do not see boys and girls, I see sons and daughters. And I am related in parental relation. So with this, I thank you again for these kind words. And let us come to our own business or work. I don't know what actually I am to do, but Dr. Panigrahi and Aditya Babu both said, you do whatever you want to do. I said, I don't want to do anything. Suppose you bring me to this university and say, be what you want. I say, I don't want to be anything or to be anything. And what is strange? And that is the strangeness with our own philosophy. So, there are three concepts are placed before you: science, religion, philosophy. Three concepts. I don't know how many teachers must have taught in this line, but I heard to my dismay that Dr. Aditya ji has already taught on these subjects. So I said, if you have taught, what I have to teach? So it's not a question of teaching, it is almost discussion, but I will manage in my own way and please follow. The first is science, second is religion, third is philosophy. It is so unique that in Western tradition, all these three are not only distinct but sometimes or very many times opposed. The whole Western tradition. If you read the history of philosophy, carefully you should read because you are teachers. To read a philosophy is wrong. You read a philosophy, the philosophy through the stream of history of philosophy. Unless one is equipped with the entire history of philosophy, his understanding a philosophy will be definitely wrong. So if you study history of philosophy, even Russell's book will do, Bertrand Russell's book will do. There he has said that religion, then came science, and by the side or after that came philosophy. That is what Bertrand Russell has said. But if you look to India, all three have gone together and they are complementary to one another. What to speak of distinction, what to speak of opposition, they are complementary to each other. Because any book on Ayurveda you take in India, Ayurveda, it has a basis in religion and it has a basis in philosophy. So how can you say Ayurveda is a science is opposed to anyone? Suppose you take mathematics, Brahmadatta, mathematics, very tough mathematics. In the beginning of the book, the author says, you have come here for moksha, not for calculating machine like calculating machine. You are not going to a calculating machine. You are going to realize Brahman, and that is moksha. Moksha means you will be free from all fetters. The highest realization man can have. You get all the wealth of the world, but you are in a prison, custody. Can you feel that you are happy? Somebody who is free without having any wealth, he may equally laugh at you and say, dear friend, stay there for all eternity and suffer hell. Custody, prison. If you read these things through hundreds of pages written on them, in anybody's regime, you will feel suffocated. And if that is true there, it is true everywhere. In your own life you should realize that I am free. Somebody will say, be bound, I will give you 10 acres of land. You will say, better take 1 acre from me and allow me to be free. Freedom is a value. Surveillance of one form or other is always a disvalue. This is the central Indian insight which you find in Ayurveda, you find in mathematics, you find in music. So everywhere in India, science, philosophy and religion, they are fused into one whole through mutual complementary ways. So if you ask an Indian, like myself, they ask me also in foreign countries, well, how is philosophy and science, philosophy and science and religion go together? I say, come to my village. You shall see they are going together. How is it not a problem for us? You come to India, my village means India. You come to India, you shall see how religion, science and philosophy are so cordially moving on the road without a little trouble. What to speak of opposition? But in your village I find they are not in talking terms. They think as if three things are very different. But come to India, even today. Say these advances, we have all Western weapons in our hand and impact on us. We are also well trained in their machinery. If they have a logic, we have learnt it. It's not that without learning their logic we have become Indian now. You come and see what happens in India. Philosophy, religion and science, they are one. One means complementing each other. But in the West, what has happened? One is opposed to the other. So how it is opposed to the other? Europe, in its beginning, was under the sway of religion. And religion has its own institutions and own dogma. And they thought, what is religion? That is also science. That is a mistake. Religion and science may go together, but you cannot claim because they go together, one is the other. That is wrong. And they thought science is, a religion is science. So the controversy began. You shall see at a point of history, when anybody suggested that earth goes around the sun, he was put to gallows and was burnt, physically burnt. The entire church became furious. What? You say earth goes around the sun? No, sun goes around the earth. But in India, this is a problem today. In India we know earth goes around the sun, and also we know that sun goes around the earth. You know? So never we have asked anybody to be penalized. Can you say for any scientific discovery, anybody has been penalized in India as much? John Wycliffe was burnt in a stake, physically burnt. Suppose you say, the world began at a time. Somebody says, world doesn't begin at a time. Both the views are there. Indians are happy. But if you go to the Western world, tremendous opposition is going on over these views. And they link it with religion and science. Therefore, I am not in habit of thinking that all these three are opposed. But in the course of history, science stood on religion, declaring that religion is a dogma. What is the dogma? God has created this world. Science says no. Nobody has created this world. Is it not a dogma? Does science know nobody has created this world? Or does religion know that God has created this world? Both are dogma, yes or no, you say. Yes. Somebody says, God created this world. Another will say, nobody has created this world. What difference is there? Is this world is at all created? There is another question. When two persons are fighting tooth and nail, we have a question also. Are you sure that this world has been created? Yes. This is another dogma. By the side of two dogmas of yours, the third dogma is here. Like your nose bridge. Two eyes both the sides and a nose bridge below. Is this world created? You know? Yes, we know. If you know that world is created, then alone it comes to the question whether God has created it or nobody has created it. True. But suppose you cannot decide whether that world is created, then what happens to you? You are another dogmatist with three dogma before you. And And in India, if you say, well, God has created it, nobody opposes it. Suppose you say nobody has created it, nobody opposes it. Of course, you can oppose anybody you like, but it's not necessary and compulsory. Suppose you say, I will fight with somebody. Good. Call somebody and fight for all eternity. But I say, I will not fight and will live with others secretly in India. But science stood as an antidote to religion in West. Furious opposition went on. And all scientific people thought that all religious people are dogma mongers. They have no thinking God. They are simply forcing dogma to the people and crushing under them. So your study of history of philosophy closely will reveal that the position in India about these three concepts or three things, concept, is different from and very much different from three concepts in the West. A scientific attitude is a non-religious attitude in the West. A scientific attitude is a non-religious attitude. But here, a scientific attitude can very well be a religious attitude. Suppose you are a scientist and you believe that there is a God. What harm? You are a scientist and you believe there is a God. What harm? But you come up with all your weapons to fight. If I am a scientist, there cannot be a God. Be happy, there is no God. We are simply fighting in darkness. Where is God? Suppose if somebody will say, there is a ghost inside the house. Let the ghost be there. Does it interfere with your work? So, the scientists were prepared to fight religion in all front, and religious people were prepared to fight science in all front, but not in India. India, I have told, and India you can say. In India. Because I have already said. In India means India. That shows you are alert. And if you are not alert, nothing can be done. Neither science, nor religion, nor. Strange to say, in West, philosophy and religion fought with each other. Science and religion fought. That is understandable a little. Even people have gone to say, all religious people are dogmatic. They have a big word, dogmatic. They can give a bad name to a dog, then kill it. Give a bad name to a dog and kill it. Similarly, dogmatic. Yes, he will be dogmatic. What is it to you? You have 20 dogmas and he has 21 dogmas. How it does differ? This can be understood in India. Very much difficulty that Western people will understand. I am forcing before you some suggestions and I am waiting to Dr. Panigrahi to say yes or no. If he says no, I will turn my direction. What do you think, Mr. Panigrahi? What I am saying, all right? So now, station master gives signal. So, opposition with one another is not felt in sharpness in India till today. Dr. Radhakrishnan is a religious man and a man of philosophy, and also the President of India and the Vice Chancellor of many universities, and man worth seeing, worth living with, Sar Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Russell, Lord Russell is a great man, equally well poised in philosophy and science. They had a discussion in BBC for 3 days. Every day 2 to 3 hours. After 3 days discussion, Russell said, Dr. Radhakrishnan, I totally agree with you. But how strange, you are using certain dogmatic words which you can avoid. All your statements I agree. Russell said. Bertrand Russell says, I agree. But only difficulty is why now and then you are using such dogmatic words like God, some other like word, a world, like soul. Why these dogmatic words you are using in such a qualified person, and I agree with you in all? Radhakrishnan replies, Lord Russell, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you in all matters. As you agree with me, I agree with you. But I am strange to think, what has made you to think that God, soul, these are dogmatic words? And why can't you use them? This is the concluding position in BBC interview between Sir Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan and Lord Bertrand Russell. Now from this you can understand what actually we are going to learn. Nobody, nothing is opposed to other. All three can be together, happily there, and they are there in India. So after the religious influence in West, I am talking about West now. India there is no problem. India no problem. You can bring a problem yourself and show me how it is opposed. I shall show you they are not opposed. And every book on science in India, it has a part on religion and it has a part on philosophy. Even in mathematics. Because why it is so, it's a little more deep if you go, you will understand why it is so. But let us know that after religious period, spirit of science grew in the West. So let us understand what is science. Science is a mode of or a way of knowing. It's a way of knowing. What will you know? And a way of knowing through scientific method. Science, though it appears to be a noun, but actually it is a verb. Science is a way of knowing. By what? By scientific method. What is scientific method? All of us, we know that scientific method is a more complicated form of inductive method. Thanks to John Stuart Mill. So nicely, he has framed what is called scientific method. We are thankful. Now it has been made very complicated. If you go, you also find suffocated there. Highly complicated. But if you reduce them to form, you shall find it is only John Stuart Mill in his racing horse. That's it. What is science? Science is based on observation. First, think of Bacon before Mill. Perhaps Bacon formulated that first step of scientific thinking is observation. What is the meaning of observation? Observation is not casual perception. Not. It is attentive perception. Anyway, your regulative is a later stage. Be attentive. And an inattentive man cannot observe anything. Then regulated will come. Regulated comes not with observation but with experiment. Your word regulated is welcome, but not here, after little time. Observation is attentive perception, not casual perception. Attentive perception means you reject unnecessary elements and focus on essential elements. So for that, regulated is not the word, attentive is the word. This is science. Science begins with observation. Suppose you say, God exists. Our first question will be, have you observed God anywhere? You say, no. Somebody will be so audacious as to say, I met God yesterday. This is too much. Of course, it has a value.
Personal experiences
ଯିବା ଆସିଲେ ଯିବା ଆସିଲେ ଯିବା ଆମର ପୁରା ଅପୋଜିସନ୍ ନାହିଁ ମୁଁ ପୁରା ଅପୋଜିସନ୍ ଭୂଇଁରୁ କହୁଛି ଭଲ ମୁଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ୱେଷ୍ଟରେ ଥିବି ଆପଣ ତ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରୁ ଫାୟାର କରିବେ ଭଲ ମୁଁ କହିଛି ଆମେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ୟୁରୋପରୁ ୱେଷ୍ଟରୁ ଆରମ୍ଭ କରୁଛୁ ତାପରେ ଲୋକଙ୍କର ପର୍ସନାଲ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ କୋଉ ଲୋକର ପର୍ସନାଲ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ ହେଲା ୱିଲିୟମ ଜେମ୍ସ ନ ଆସିବା ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ୱେଷ୍ଟର୍ଣ୍ଣ ୱାର୍ଲଡକୁ ଭେରାଇଟିଜ୍ ଅଫ୍ ରିଲିଜିୟସ୍ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ ନ ଲେଖା ହେବା ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ କିଏ କହୁଥିଲା ମୁଁ ଗଡକୁ ଦେଖିଛି God is there because it is written in Bible. Amar eti God is there because I met him yesterday, meeting today, and tomorrow also I will meet. So that is why from the beginning I made such a distinction. If you are in the West, behave like Western people. If you come to India, behave like Indian people. So this is a yoga for you. You will be in India and claim that I am in the West. That's wrong. You will be in West and say I am in India. Wrong. Right is West, India is India, and I can live in both most comfortably. And I have lived also. Except for food matters. I am comfortable in everything except food matters. Because there are certain things I do not take. That's it. So, observation is the first step. Observation. Observation means focus your attention. So observation is focusing attention or attentive attention. If you talk about God, you must have observed God. If you have not observed God, stop nonsense. Then further step is experiment. What is experiment? Questioning the nature. You bring nature to your laboratory. Create the situation. Bring it, you have brought it to control and question. That is, you have arrested nature. This is Bacon. You have arrested nature. Suppose somebody says, I am the emperor. Arrest him. Bring him to the court. Put him under the bar. And then question answer. Are you the emperor? Then the person will say, no sir, I was under the sway of intoxication. So, experiment means what? It is not mere observation. It is questioning the nature, taking nature out of context, putting it in the laboratory and examining and questioning and getting the answer, cross-examining nature. As in the law court, the person is cross-examined. Similarly, nature is a cross-examined. Nature can, suppose you want to study about electricity. You look to the sky, thunderous electricity, tremendous. But if you want to study about electricity, mere observation will not do. Bring experiment. And in the experiment, your professor and you both will see that how and why electricity is behaving in this particular manner. Then you say, how will you behave in a tube? Then you will answer. This way I will behave. That is, nature is tamed, brought under control, and then cross-examination of nature. No laboratory can show you God. So how can scientists say that God is not a dogmatic concept? I do not agree. But in that land, what happens? That I am pointing out. Then what happens in scientific method? hypothesis. Frame hypothesis. And the rule is, there is no rule for framing hypothesis. Your own creative thinking will give you hypothesis. Eita hipare, seita hipare, seita hipare. Many people do not have the capacity of
Framing hypothesis.
framing hypothesis. So they fail. Observation is all right, experiment is all right, then frame hypothesis. I'll give an example. Newton saw that an apple fell down. Everybody has seen and observed and experimented also. That things, when you let loose them, they fall down. But this is not enough. What is enough? Newton said, Earth has a gravitational pull. Whole world was shocked. How is Earth gravitational pull and how are you walking on it? Because there is gravitational pull, therefore you are walking. Your foot is clung to ground. But people say, if there is gravitational pull, I will not even walk. They took it for years to understand how Earth has acting on this gravitational pull. So to understand a concept, one may take months, years to understand. And that is a philosopher's job. And Earth, gravitational pull, it was established. Somebody said, why? Because the apple fell. It is there where it is. The Earth is rising up. Will it not be possible? Earth is steady. Now the apple falls. This is gravitational pull. But suppose I say it is fixed there and Earth is rising. No gravitational pull is a necessary hypothesis. Yes or no? This is another hypothesis.
Tribal hypothesis.
Or any hypothesis. Now there will tussle between two hypotheses and let us see where it leads to. So framing hypothesis is a first-rate brain people can frame hypothesis. And that is a first creative aspect of modern science. It is not reading 1,000 books will give you that capacity. No, you can read anywhere. It is your genius who gives you the capacity for framing hypothesis. 1,000 instances can be given, and if you read books on hypothesis, you shall see that strange things came to the mind of scientists, and we have accepted it. Earth has a gravitational pull. It is one hypothesis. Earth is rising up and you make the apple there. It is another hypothesis. Can you decide between the two who is what? Then one thing must be clear to you, that science is based on hypothesis. Therefore, it might be, not must be, it might be hypothetical because it is an hypothesis. It might be hypothetical. The doubt enters into us. So the scientist, if he says, I am 100% correct, sir, your hypothesis is there. Because you have a hypothesis, therefore you are hypothetical. And no scientist can say that I have no hypothesis. Now, please remember this. Then I give a joke, almost a philosophical, we have no ordinary joke. We have our philosophical joke. Where is your mind? My mind is inside my body. But Berkeley said, your body is inside the mind. Everybody knows that my mind is inside my body. Everybody. Even today, this morning, I was reading a book where he says, ଆପଣଙ୍କ ମନ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଶରୀର ଭିତରେ ଅଛି ମୁଁ ହସିଲି ମୋଟେ ବରକଲ ପଢ଼ିନି ମୋଟେ ହେଗେଲ ପଢ଼ିବା ଦୂରେ ତ ବରକଲି ବି ପଢ଼ିନି ମୁଁ ତ ଟେଲିଫୋନରେ ପଚାରି ମୁଁ ଲାଗେ ଆପଣ ଫିଲୋସଫି କେତେ ପଢ଼ିଥିଲେ ପଚାରିଲେ ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରିକି ଶରତ ପଚାରିବେନି ସେ ତ ମୋତେ ପଚାରନ୍ତିନି ଆଉ କାହାକୁ ପଚାରିବେନି ଆଉ ଏଠି ଦେଖା ମୁଁ ଆଜି ଯାହା ହେଇଛି ସାରଙ୍କ ସକାଶେ अरे सार सचिन can affect me more than the cause? ସାର୍ ଯେତିକି ସେତିକି ତୁମେ ସବୁ ବିରାଟ ବିରାଟ ହେଇଛ ଭୁଲିଯିବ ତ କାହିଁ ସେ ଏମିତି ୱାର୍ଡ଼ ସବୁ କହିଦେଲେ ସାର୍ ଭୁଲିଯିବ ତାହେଲେ ଆଉ ସେ ପାଠ ପଢ଼ିଛି କ'ଣ ସୋ ମାଇଣ୍ଡ ଇଜ୍ ୱିଦିନ୍ ବଡି or body is within mind, both are hypotheses, but very controversial hypothesis. Some people will say no, mind is within body. Have you observed? Have you experimented? And also somebody will say body is inside my mind. How odd it is, but it is a fact, because your body is not a thing. Body is a conglomeration of sensations. What is the body? We think that my body with all my kinesthetic or means muscular frame, I am a thing. Neither you nor your muscles nor kinesthetic, these are all sensations and feelings. You are what you all feel about you. Suppose I put my hand. It is hard. Table is hard. There is no table, how can it be hard? No table? Yes. You go on analyzing table. According to scientists, not we philosophers. See what scientists say. These are pool of atomic dance. Pool of atomic dance. So how can you touch it and say hard? Your hand is also a pool of atomic dance. Two pools of atomic dance are touching each other and you say, I have felt a hard thing. If you go on thinking this for months and months, not one day, you will gradually realize what role hypothesis plays in science. Now, the moment a hypothesis is framed, next demand is test the hypothesis. Test it. Suppose you have a hypothesis, somebody has a hypothesis, test it. Testing the hypothesis leads to another concept called verification. Scientific hypothesis demands that it should be verified. It started with observation, moved through experiment, passed through hypothesis, now descending to verification. The scientists are happy. We can verify our propositions. Sarat will teach you. Nobody can verify any proposition. What will you verify? Suppose you say, here is a microphone. I verify it is there. Do you know it is a microphone? Yes, I know. Then further discussions will go and you will know it is not so easy to verify. So they said there is a direct verification, there is an indirect verification. The moment indirect comes, now gate is open. All the devils will run away from the basket. Indirect means what? Again playing with hypothesis. Even in hard physics, we think physics is a very hard substance. The leader among the scientists, physics, is high, close to mathematics. Physics is close to mathematics, close to this world, so it is the leader of the sciences, physics. That light travels in a straight line. Light travels in a curved line. Both are there. Physics, go and ask. If anybody is a physics student here. Light travels in the straight line. Yes, it is there. Light travels in a curved line. It is also there. Both are there. Then give an hypothesis by which all these two hypotheses must be housed. See where we are now plunging into. So science, a good scientist is always aware that he is dealing with hypothesis. A bad scientist is there who says, I am dealing with hard fact. You have no fact. You have left the fact with observation and experiment. You have entered the domain of hypothesis. You are working with one hypothesis, he is working with another hypothesis. This is the situation almost. So now the question of verification. Verification, they say, are two types. One is direct verification, another is indirect verification. What is common to both that you call it verification? Why don't you call indirect verification a deviation? This is also a problem. So, science cannot free itself from dogma, and science cannot free itself from hypothesis. And this is the first part of science. Second part, I will enter with your permission. Because with this also you can continue to all eternity. I will enter to another part of science, which has been clearly stated by John Stuart Mill. Clear. Is it observation and verification that is science? No. Formulation and generalization is the science. Sugar is sweet is not a scientific statement to that effect. All sugars are sweet, this is a scientific. So the second part we have to know that generalizing a proposition, that is a scientific job. If you say the sun is there, it is not a scientific proposition. Every day sun will appear 12 o'clock there, this is a scientific proposition. Why? It is generalized. You have generalized. You take sugar and say sweet. That is not scientific. That is just observation. And verification also. But I will see that it cannot be verified. Forget about it. You are dangerous people so far as discussing matters. But one thing is sure, if you say, tomorrow if you taste the sugar from another bag which has not yet been purchased, it will be sweet. That is a scientific proposition. If you say sugar will be sweet if you sugar from this bag, that is also a scientific proposition. Because we are generalizing it. All sugars are sweet. On what this generalization is based? On what? No, nothing. We generalize. No. There is something on which it is based. Pardon?
Causation.
Causation and?
Uniformity. Uniformity and causation.
Uniformity of nature. Mere uniformity will not do. Uniformity of nature and another is causation. What is uniformity of nature? Under similar circumstances, the same cause will produce the same effect. What is causation? Given cause, effect must follow. Underline word must. If you take away these two principles, no generalization is possible. So we must know that generalization is based on principles already accepted. Principles are there. We have discovered the principles. Not that first we got principles, then we applied them. But in course of application, we have discovered them. Under similar circumstances, the same cause will produce the same effect. Causation is given cause, effect must follow. Underline the word must. Because of these two principles, we are capable of generalizing anything. And we will be able to explain anything in this image.
But uniformity is a generalization, sir.
Okay?
But uniformity is already a generalization.
हार्ड हो जाଉଛି ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଆମେ ଆମେ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ଯିବା ୟୁନିଫର୍ମିଟି ଯଦି ଗୋଟେ ଜେନେରାଲାଇଜେସନ ହୁଏ ତାହେଲେ ଭିସିୟସ୍ सर्कल ହେବ ମିଲ୍ସ ପାରାଡକ୍ସ ଏତେ ପାଠ ମୁଁ ପଢିଛି ବୋଲି ଭାବୁଛ ନା କ'ଣ ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ଏମିତି କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା କରୁଛି ଆପଣ ପଣ୍ଡିତ ଲୋକମାନ ଲୋକଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ମୁଁ ମିଲ୍ସ ପାରାଡକ୍ସ ଏଇ ପାରାଡକ୍ସ ଏମିତି କହିଲେ ଆଉ କିଏ ପଢିପାରିବ ପିଲା ତ ଛାଡ଼ିକି ପଳେଇବେ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ମାଷ୍ଟର ମାନେ ପଳେଇବେ ଆପଣ ଯଦି କହିବେ ଯେ ୟୁନିଫର୍ମିଟି ଅଫ୍ ନେଚର ଇଜ୍ ଏ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ଅଫ୍ generalization and generalization is possible with uniformity of nature. The simple truth is it is vicious circle. And that comes as the paradox or anything.
What I feel is the applicability of the hypothesis makes a generalization.
Application of hypothesis will not make a generalization unless guarantee is given by uniform human nature. It is a guarantee, bank guarantee. When you go to the foreign countries, there should be a bank guarantee behind you. Have you got the bank guarantee? Yes. No. It may not be necessary, but if necessary, money will flow from that bank to you. That is bank guarantee. Foreign country will not take the risk. Okay. So, law of informative nature cannot be derived from any principle of generalization. And law of causality gives you one element which is called must. Suppose you take ice cream every hour. You must suffer. You will suffer from cold. Here is the force of must. What is the meaning of must? Universality and necessity. Universality to all people and necessity. Hume pointed out, hey, no experience can give you necessity. David Hume, only one contribution to philosophy, that experience cannot give you necessity. If you are getting necessity, you are putting necessity through causality. If you are getting necessity, you are putting necessity through causality. You are feeding your mechanism and then you are getting must. So, these two principles give you all guarantee for generalization. The moment you analyze these two concepts, two principles, none of them is valid. It doesn't mean they are invalid. No. I do not say they are invalid. They are not valid. They cannot justify themselves. No causality can justify itself by itself. That is what Hume brought forcefully in the Western world. So here is a halting point for science. Can science arrive at universality and necessity?
No.
You will not say no. Doubtful. You will not say no. No is a hard word.
Probable.
How hell? Doubt. My doubt comes in from a probable. So all scientific propositions are probable. And if anybody says it is certain, it is universal, let him stand the test. So, this is a major position of all scientific thinking till today. As I always say, a man will die because, wait. A man will die the moment you say he will sue you in the court. Because can prove this. No. Whatever because you give, it can never prove. Why? Because this is not based upon law of causality or uniformity of nature. And these two principles are also unexamined principles. If you have examined them, then what happens? You realize that all scientific statements are probable. It is not universal or necessary. Now this is science.
Man and mortality is a causal relation nahi.
Oh, sorry. Man is mortal. What is that causal relation that makes a man mortal? Nahi ki achi mu kohune. Jodi achi, is it discoverable? You take analysis. A man is living. You say he will die. Why?
Having life is the
Having
cause of
life.
death. Having life is the cause of death.
Life is the cause of death.
That's life also now.
That is not cause. Life is cause of death कल तो डेंजरस है जो ना हमें समझते हैं कि तो लाइफ बची ना हमारा से vital टा माने life से vital कौन out हुआ word की loss of life काहे होची causal relation दिया एवं दो आज जे होने तला काहे so man is mortal it cannot be established and far off Ram is mortal cannot and you will be sued in the court if you say all men are mortal Ram is a man therefore Ram is mortal ମୁଁ କହିଥିଲି ତୁମକୁ ହେଲା ରିଲିଜନରେ ପଶିବା ପାଇଁ ସେ ତ କହିଲେ ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି କହୁଛ ମୋ ମୁଁ କ'ଣ ରିଲିଜନରେ ପଶ ବୋଲି କହିଥିଲି ଯାହା ତ ସେଇ ଥିବ
ହାଇପୋଥେସିସ୍ ସିଏ ପ୍ରୋବେବଲ୍ ଫ୍ୟୁଚର ଯଦି ମଣିଷ ମଲେ ଆମେ ଏଇଟାକୁ ଫେର କାହିଁକି କହିବା
ଆଇ ଶୁଣ କାହିଁକି କ'ଣ କହିବ କାହିଁକି କହୁଛ ଚୁପି ବସୁନ ଶୁଣ କ'ଣ କହୁଥିଲି ହଁ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କ'ଣ କହୁଥିଲି ଆଚ୍ଛା ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ ଜେନେରେସନ୍ ବୋଲି ଆମେ ଯାହାକୁ କହୁଛୁ your book also says there are three types of generation. All the boys of this class are wearing white shirt. Mark the word all. The force of your generation lies on all, not on white shirt. All the boys of this class are wearing white shirt. Underline all. All the crows are black. Underline all. All men are mortal. Underline all. So in your hand there are three alls. Examine them. All the boys of this class wear white shirt. A boy goes outside, puts a black shirt and comes in. Your journalist will go. ओहो मु लिमिटेड ना कहूँ मु जहाँ कहूँ जा कर मन को मन लिमिटेड अमुक कौन बस ह्वाइट सार्ट समस्त पिंधुं हठात पिलाटा बाहर को चलीगला गोटे कला सार्ट पहन बसीगला आपण जेनरलाइजेशन गला कि कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन नहीं जेनरलाइजेशन रहिला कि
पढ़ाला 99 ऑल हैला हो ना
सेटा प्रोबेबल सेटा आउ आपण जोटा कहउछ सेटा प्रोबेबल एटा हैला ऑल ता हैला यूनिवर्सल एंड नेसेसरी आपण तो प्रोबेबल कर दे खसी बोली पळै छथि मो हाथ खसी बहुत पसंद जेते हम प्रथमे कहिला बे जेते बेले जे ऑल स्टूडेंट सेते सारे से थिला से पिलाटे जाई बदले आसे को आमी से मना करथिल ना कोन धर आजकल सात दी प्रकार अछि ना एपटे गोटे कलर सेपटे गोटे आम बेले नथिला हमर जो भीतर बाहर समान एबे सब लोक बाहर भीतर गोटे प्रकार बाहर गोटे प्रकार साइड गोटे प्रकार ऊपर गोटे मुझे ये कोन नै सत्य से कल्चर मो घर कोन कल्चर होनी बोली होछि नाती नातुनी समस्त मो से कल्चरल वार करछन भाभी के जे ये कोन हमको कहबो मु तुम किछ कहबा तुम नाती माने तुम कहबो आमे पारिबो नै तुम नाती माने तुमको कोन कहबे टिके अपेक्षा करो ताले एठी आपण कोन करछन्ती ऑल को एग्जामिन करछन्ती ना ऑल द बॉयज ऑफ दिस क्लास आर वेयरिंग व्हाइट शर्ट से तो आपण कहि नांती जे नो बॉडी कैन चेंज हिज शर्ट तो सेटा कहि जाते ताले कथा अच्छा धरंतु एभली शर्ट अछि ता मनकु मन रंग बदली गिरी से ग्रीन ही गला मो कहली से सेठी जाई कि बदलिला हमको कला आपण रेजिस्ट करछन्ती सपोज मु कहबी एमता शर्ट पिंधि बसिबो प्योर व्हाइट दिसतो बदलिला रे बाबा
सेल्फ चेंजिंग शर्ट सेल्फ
अछि बजार अछि ताले सेतोळे आपनकर जई जनरलाइजेशन वैल्यू कोन रहइबो so all boys wear white shirt though observation or experiment द्वारा प्रमाणित still not supporting your generation कोन not able to give you universal सब मन रखते universal and necessary relations how would all crows are black पिला दिन तुम जेतोळे देखि से गोटे कळा काउ बसी आपन गागे and all swans are white जेतोळे गोटे स्वान आसी व्हाइट ही बस or because we have not seen a contrary case. ମୁଁ ଦେଖି ନାହିଁ କି ମୋ ଗୁରୁ ଦେଖି ନାହିଁ କି ମୋ ବାପା ଦେଖି ନାହିଁ କି କେହି ଦେଖି ନାହିଁ.
So far experience goes.
But when Australia was discovered, there black swans are profusely. Of course, white crow are there, but not easily available. All crows are black. Underline that all. Does it give you universal and necessary knowledge? Can you give guarantee that no crow in the future will be white? Can you give guarantee? Mark that word guarantee. Guarantee means universal necessity. You must know the translation of words. It is a guarantee. And what is a guarantee? Universal and necessity. So all crows are black. Can it give you guarantee that tomorrow I am left my specs? इतने तरबरे में आसिली आज सकाळू ଯନ୍ତ୍ରଣା ପାଉଥିଲି ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ବାଣୀ ବିହାର ଗଲେ ହେଲେ ଯନ୍ତ୍ରଣାଟା କମିଯିବ ମୁଁ ପକେଟରେ ଚଷମାଟାକୁ ହଠାତ୍ ଭାବିଲି ଟଙ୍କା କାଢ଼ିଲା ବେଳେ କାଳେ ଟଙ୍କା ପଡ଼ିଯିବ ତେଣୁ ଭୁଲ କରି ଛାଡ଼ି ଦେଇ ଆସିଛି ବାଟରେ ମନେ ପଡ଼ିଲା କେବେ ତ ଟଙ୍କା ପଡ଼େନି ମୁଁ ଏମିତି କାହିଁ ଭାବିଲି ନା ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଏ ବ୍ୟାଡ୍ ହାଇପୋଥେସିସ୍ examine yourself. So all crows are black can give you that assurance and that guarantee that in future no crow will be white crow. Okay. Then upon what it is established? Not on law of causation, but law of infinitive nature. What sort of law of infinitive nature it is? Limited zone of your observation. Limited zone of your observation. ଯେତିକି ଦେଖିଛ ବାପ ସେଇଠି କାଉ ମାନେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଗାଁରେ କଳା ମାମୁଁ ଘରକୁ ଗଲାବେଳକୁ ଯଦି ୟେଲୋ କାଉ ବସିଥିବ this probability cannot be ruled out. ମୁଁ କହୁନାହିଁ ଯେ ସତରେ ୟେଲୋ କ୍ରୋ ଅଛନ୍ତି କି ନାହିଁ ଏଇ probabilityଟା କେହି ରୁଲ୍ ଆଉଟ୍ କରିପାରିବେ ତାହେଲେ ଉପର ହଲ୍ ତ ଯାଇଥିଲା ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ତଳ ହଲ୍ ରହିଲା କି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଦେଲା କି ୟୁନିଭର୍ସାଲ ନେସେସିଟି ସେକେଣ୍ଡକୁ ଆସ ଅଲ୍ ମେନ୍ ଆର୍ ମର୍ଟାଲ କେମିତି ଜାଣିଲ ଅଲ୍ ମେନ୍ ଆର୍ ମର୍ଟାଲ କଜାଲ ରିଲେସନକୁ ଜାଣିଲ ଲ ଅଫ୍ ଇନଫିନିଟିଭ୍ ନେଚର ସବୁଠୁ ସଲିଡ୍ ଇଣ୍ଡକ୍ସନ୍ ବସିଛି ଏଇଠି ଅଲ୍ ମେନ୍ ଆର୍ କ'ଣ କଜାଲିଟି ଦେଖିଲ that all men are mortal କହିଲ man and mortality ଭିତରେ କ'ଣ କଜାଲିଟି ଓ ମୁଁ ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ କହୁଛି ପୁରା man and ଆଚ୍ଛା ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଆପଣମାନେ ବୁଝିପାରୁଛନ୍ତି ନା ନା ହସନି ମୋର ବେଳେବେଳେ ଧାରଣା ହେଉଛି ଯେ ଲୋକମାନେ ବଡ଼ ପାଠ ପଢ଼ିଲେ ଭୁଲି ଯାଆନ୍ତି ଓଡ଼ିଆ ମୁଁ ତ ଓଡ଼ିଆଟା ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନଟା କ'ଣ କରିବି ଏମିତି ହେଲି ପରା କହୁଛନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଆସେ ନାହିଁ ବୋଲି ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି ନା ଇଂରେଜୀ ଆସେ ନା ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଆସେ ତାଙ୍କ ଖାତା ମୁଁ ଦେଖିଛି ଏକ୍ସାମିନ୍ କରିଛି ଏବଂ ବହୁ ବର୍ଷ ତଳୁ ଦେଖିଛି ସେମାନେ କୌଣସି ଭାଷା ଜାଣନ୍ତି ନାହିଁ ତାଙ୍କ ବାପା ମାନେ ତାଙ୍କ ଟିଚର ମାନେ କୌଣସି ଭାଷା ତାଙ୍କୁ ପଢ଼େଇ ନାହାନ୍ତି
ଏବେ ସେ କଣ୍ଡିସନ ଆହୁରି ପ୍ରିକାରିୟସ୍ ହେଇଗଲାଣି
ମୁଁ ଏଇଟା ଜାଣିନି କ'ଣ ପିଲେ ପଢ଼ୁଛନ୍ତି ଆଉ ମୋ ପୁଅମାନେ ପଢ଼ିଲେ ତାପରେ ମୋ ନାତିମାନେ ପଢ଼ିଲେ ଆଉ ମୁଁ ପ୍ରିକାରିୟସ୍ ବୋଲି ଗୋଟେ ଶବ୍ଦ ଜାଣିନି ଦ୍ୱାଦଶ ବର୍ଷ ମଧିତମ୍ ବ୍ୟାକରଣମ୍ 12 ବର୍ଷ କାଳ କେବଳ ବ୍ୟାକରଣ ପଢ଼ିବ କେହି ବ୍ୟାକରଣ ନ ପଢ଼ିକି ପା ନେସ୍ଫିଲ୍ଡ ଦେଖିଛ ନା ଇଂରେଜୀ କହୁଛ ନା ପୁରା ଜିରୋ 4 ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ୍ସ ଅଫ୍ ନେସ୍ଫିଲ୍ଡ ନେସନାଲାଇଜେସନ
ସେ ବହି ତ ସେ ମିଳୁନି
ଆକାଇ ମିଳିବ
ପବ୍ଲିକେସନ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ସେଟା ତାକୁ ବାହାର କରୁଛି ମିସର୍ଜେନ୍ସି ରିଭାଇଡ୍ କରି ସେଟା ବି ଲାଗନି ତା ଅରିଜିନାଲ ମିଳୁନି
କ'ଣ କାହିଁ କି ଆମର ନେସ୍ଫିଲ୍ଡ ଆଉ କାହିଁ ଆମ ମିଶ୍ର ଏଜେନ୍ସି ତିଆରି ନେସ୍ଫିଲ୍ଡ ସମାନ ହବ ନା
ବହୁତ ସବୁ ଆଇପିଏଲ୍ କରୁଛି
ଛାଡ଼ ସବୁ କ'ଣ ମିଳିବ ସବୁବେଳେ ତ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି କି ପଳେଇଲା ତାହେଲେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଆର୍ଗୁମେଣ୍ଟ ହେଲା ଅଲ୍ ମ୍ୟାନ୍ ଆର୍ ମର୍ଟାଲ ଯୋଡ଼ିଏ ଜିନିଷ ଉପରେ ବେସ୍ କରୁଛି କାହାର ଲ ଅଫ୍ ପଜିସନ୍ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଉଛି ଲ ଅଫ୍ ଇନଫର୍ମେସନ୍ ଏଇଠି ଯଦି ସେମାନେ ହାରନ୍ତି ସାଇଣ୍ଟିଷ୍ଟ ମାନେ ପୂର୍ବକୁ ତ ରକ୍ଷା କରିପାରିଲେ ନାହିଁ ଏଠି ଯଦି ହାରନ୍ତି ତାହେଲେ ତାଙ୍କ ତମ୍ବୁ ଧରିକି ସେ ପଳେଇବେ ଆଉ କ'ଣ କରିବେ ସେ କାମ କ'ଣ ହବ ହେଲା କଜାଲିଟି କେମିତି ଡିସ୍କଭର ହୁଏ ହାଉ ଡୁ ୟୁ ଡିସ୍କଭର କଜାଲିଟି by methods of induction. ଆପଣ ମନକୁ ମନ causality suggest କଲେ prove ହେବ କି? Causality must be proved. And how it is proved? By methods of induction. Thanks to Mill again. এইଗୁଡ଼ାକ ନାନା କମ୍ପ୍ଲିକେଟେଡ୍ କଥା କରିକିରି ଏମାନେ କରିଛନ୍ତି, କିନ୍ତୁ to reduce them all, they will come to this place and no other place. कितने बुद्धिमान जॉन स्टुअर्ट मिल भावुचे आजी. अच्छा कौन है ना मेथड ऑफ एग्रीमेंट. कौन एग्रीमेंट? Wherever cause is present, effect is present. So they are causally related. Two horns of the bull are present. Whenever left is present, right is present. Are they causally related? Method of agreement. Whenever you find one and also you find two, they are causally related. Two horns of the bull are all, one is present, the other is present, but they can't. So they cannot be causally related. Suppose you say A, B, C, capital, dot, dot, produce A, B, C. I am revising intermediate lesson with the bright light of postgraduates. What am I doing? I am revising intermediate lesson with the bright luminous light of your postgraduate or even doctor. ସେଇ ଆଲୋକରେ ମୁଁ ଦେଖଉଛି ଜାଗାଟା ଆଉ କିଛି ନାହିଁ. So A, B, C produce small a, small b, small b. So A, B, C is the cause of A, B, C. How many instances have you taken? 3, 4, 10, 12. Here is a mistake in generalization. Because 10 instances can give you guarantee that causal relation is there. Again, you have gone to unscientific induction to prove scientific induction. Suppose I grant you that ABC produces ABC. How do you know? There is no one factor which is not known to anybody and it is producing ABC. So any intermediate class, you will point out that all the methods are fraught with one mistake. That is, they are not exhaustive. They allow unknown factors to operate. They are not exhaustive. ABC produce ABC, ABC produce ABC. How do you know that K is producing ABC, which we have not caught in our thread? So all method of agreement is also not competent enough. Suppose you say 10 cases of ABC I took. What happens? This is unscientific induction. You can't say that I established causation on the basis of unscientific induction. This is one argument. So many arguments. So method of agreement, the best among lot, cannot give you causation. Next, more powerful is method of difference. ସେଇଟା ଦ୍ୱାରା causality ଆସେ. कौन मेथड ऑफ डिफरेंस कौन आंधी कौन सी जिनिस है?
Two instances differ in one circumstance.
Pardon?
Two instances differ in one circumstance, and that circumstance produces the effect.
Very well.
Two instances. We have two instances, and they differ in one circumstance. And the instance where that circumstance is present, the effect will be produced. So they are causally related.
गोटे अननोन फैक्टर नाही बोली प्रमाणित हो. ये एंकर बिहेवियर आ गोटे अननोन फैक्टर नाही से प्रमाण कर परबो. As method of agreement cannot prove that there is an unknown factor. Similarly, method of difference, the best, will all not be also able to prove that there is no unknown factor. So, put round about unknown. The role of unknown in the field of our knowledge is great. The field of our knowledge, one factor is more heavily on you, that is unknown. Somebody said, in a book also there, the number of unknown factors is more than your known factors. How can you know number of unknown factors? There are unknown factors and you know their number. They are given a fraction. Number of known factors, that is possible. And number of unknown factors. And what is a known factors, by their side also unknown factor is present. no scientific method can discover causality because unknown is playing a role in the field of knowledge. Unknown. So always think that what I know is surrounded by a sea. It is an island. What I know is an island. It is surrounded by a sea, and that sea is known. So there is a limit of your knowledge. It is limited by not known knowledge. It is limited by unknown. Can you smell religion now? Smell. Religion का कोई सौरभ आ रहा है कि नहीं? The field, vast field of your knowledge is surrounded by all sides by the ocean of unknown. This position is religion. So entire scientific method with all its theory ultimately is reduced to this position. And one man did it is Hume, and who purified it to given form is Kant. So scientific investigation. Many people say, I have made a scientific investigation. No investigation is possible in science. Because you will not be able to establish soberly causality and uniformity in nature as the ultimate principle of your examination. Is it true or is it false or is it doubtful? In other words, be sober. Your knowledge is surrounded by unknown factors. And it will totally change the field of your knowledge. One discovery, small discovery, will change the field of our knowledge. Whole entire. Possible. And I ask you, do you smell religion? And what is religion? Religion is an awareness that all our knowledge is inadequate. If all our knowledge is inadequate, can you assert? No. Can you deny? No. Only you have to suspend your judgment. Suspension of judgment is a religious attitude. You can say yes, wrong. No, wrong. Because you are claiming knowledge, there is no claim for knowledge. No claim for knowledge is a religious act, and it has been brought to us by rigorous philosophizing in the West as well as in India. The Madhyamikas, who terribly showed by their first mantra, by first sloka, that possession is not possible. Na soto, na pi parato, na uttadhyam, na pi hetuta, utpanna, jat vidyante, bhava, kochana kechana. First line, Nagarjuna. That means what Hume did so carefully on empirical ground, empiricism ground, because empiricists believe that experience, though you start with experience, observation, and experiment, and on that ground Hume showed what these people, not depending upon any ground, also showed that causation. But if causation is not possible, is it false? Is it true? True, but not universal and certainly true. Without causation, it has practical application, and without causation, you cannot move a step in life. But that doesn't give you the pragmatic necessity, doesn't give you the logical and metaphysical necessity. Without causation, you cannot move. बजार को जीव चीनी किनिया पे को तो कौन तुम चीनी जे काली मिठा लगे वो किपरि जानिली तो पिटिया दो विदा कर दो कैसल सो श्रीकोणला ना आमे कॉजेशन तो फॉल्स हो बोली कहि देली दैट्स रॉन्ग नाइदर ट्रू बोली कहिबो ना फॉल्स बोली कहिबो एवं तांको संगरे चालीबो यही होची रिलीजन नथिंग एल्स अब कौन ब्रेक करो गले ब्रेक बस कि ब्रेक ही पाइबो नहीं ना अच्छा कौन एते समय आमे जहा कहा वाला हेलु यह उचित ना अनुचित आगे कहीकि ब्रेक रे जाओ ना अनुचित ता माने वी हैव वेस्टेड आवर टाइम अन्य भाषा रे और नथिंग हैज बीन वेस्टेड
मैंने हमने मध्य वीडियो रे मध्य करे बट मैं किसे मैडम कहले उचित नहीं
नहीं मैडम भलो कहे ସେ ନା ଯନ୍ତ୍ର ଥୋଇଛୁ ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି ମୁଁ ତ ଏମାନଙ୍କୁ ଡରେ ନା ନା ମୁଁ ଯାହା କହିଲି
ଆଉ ସାର୍ ବଡ଼
କ'ଣ କହୁଛ ମୁଁ ପାଣିଲା ବେଳକୁ କହୁନି ତାହା କ'ଣ ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି ସେଭଳି ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ଥୁଆ ହେଇଛି ତା କଥା ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି